Good morning, my friends. Carol here, and it's great having you in my craft room. It's been a while, a few weeks at least, but it is good to be back and showing you my Creative Spirit Design Team project. This is by far the cutest album / gift box idea that you're going to love to make. It is simplistic. It is gorgeous to open up. There is really little work to this, and I really want to encourage you to go over to My Creative Spirit where you can get all the supplies that I have used in this video and more, so much more. Yes, we all know Claire and My Creative Spirit, and really she's excuse me, yeah, oh, good thing I'm measuring and I'm not cutting. I would have got your tail there. So here we go. I'm going to give you the measurements here. So it's going to be 8.5 as far as the length. And then we're going to cut 2 4-inch panels, and then we're going to cut times 2. That makes it 2 8.5 by 4-inch panels. Now the thing about this that I really like, which was hard to believe that the spine was so small for this, but when you look at the project, it really doesn't look as small as you're going to cut it. Yeah, it's an illusion. It sure is. So here we go. Let me just show you. I really, when I was doing this, and I did leave it in the tutorial, is the fact that it's so small. I had to keep checking it. What? You're kidding. It's 7/8, like times 8.5. Of course, everything's going to measure 8.5 because that's the length of the book, right? So here we go. So 7/8. I'm going 7. Wait a minute, I better count this out. Yeah, I was shocked. I'm going 7/8. Let me just see. Maybe it was 1 7/8. You know, when you're working, and it is an album gift box, and it's so sweet, and it's one of my favorite projects. So I hope you like it, and I hope that you will go out and check everything out at My Creative Spirit's shop and all of her beautiful workshops. She has some new papers in and some new supplies that you're just going to love, and I will leave the link, of course. I'm using papers, once I get this cut here, I'm using paper by Stamperia, of course, and it's a paper choice that was sent to me by Claire that I wouldn't necessarily have bought this myself. But as I went through it, I really did like a lot of these images. It wasn't like this one here. This is going to be the inside page. I really did like it. And if you see me doing that, my friends, it's because I am chatting with a friend as I am crafting, and I'm just showing her how delicious some of these pages are. I really like, has this splattered look on some of them, very vintage, very me. So most of the pages. Some of the pages I saved till another time because it didn't go with my project. But I do love these dragonflies that are on here. Dragonflies, yes. I always have to make sure I get that right, but I think that is a dragonfly. It doesn't look like a butterfly, but I do believe it's a dragonfly. Now, as you can see, I am in mode of what papers I'm going to put on the inside and what papers I am going to put on the outside. And if I don't write it down, the outside will be the inside and the inside will be the outside. You know the way I work, right? It's like I'm just flying by. But, excuse me, I'm sorry. I did have this ready to go to edit, and I love this gift box, and it looks like an album, and it has some really cool add-ons to it that I think you're going to love. I really do. I am leaving the sizes of the album size and the gift box sizes on the screen. I'm going to miter the corners, making sure that when I cut it, it doesn't touch the corner of the cardboard that I have placed here, the chipboard. So we're just going to cut them, no measurements. I think if you make albums, you're pretty versed on just knowing where to cut them. You just need that little bit to push in on the corner so it has a nice fold when you add the glue and fold it over. Has a nice corner. Now, doesn't that look nice? It looks nice just at the start of it. So I am going to use double-sided tape all the way around, and then I am going to add liquid glue when I am putting it together, when I'm folding it over and applying it. I think this is nice to have, especially this is a gift box, so on the inside, so you're going to be opening this quite a bit. But if you have gifts you want to give away and you want this vintage or whatever look that you're going for in your papers, this is truly a great project for you. I enjoyed every second of making it, and that way when I say that it is a nice project, I mean it, because I've done it, and yeah, I mean it. So here we go. I'm just making sure all of these, they all have tape. I don't want to waste any, and I'm just giving it a little fold over as I'm working with it, and there you go. Now, this is a must for anybody's craft room if you create albums, things that you have to fold back and forth. It's like having a roll of Tyvek. Easy to work with. You can rip this with your fingers, yet it is not going to tear when you're putting it on the seams, which is totally amazing. I couldn't believe it when I got my hands on this roll, and it comes in 2 different colors, the craft color and the black. And this, I'm going to use this in 2 different instances on making this project for you today. And I think that after you see it, you're going to want to purchase some. So I will leave the link for the tape so that you can just press it and go right over to Claire's site and check it out. It's amazing. I couldn't believe it when I first worked with it. I couldn't believe how easy it was. Like, as you can see, I am not having to put glue down for Tyvek. There's many purposes for it as well, which you can check on YouTube. But making albums is one of the best construction tapes to date that I have ever seen. So I encourage you to pick up a roll or 2 or 5, whatever. I'm going to have to get some more because this is all I have left on this one, and yeah, I'm going to miss having it. Now here we go. I don't know why I'm slowing it down. I guess I want you to see me put it back in the packaging. Yeah, I've already done an edit. You know, if you do videos, you know you take hours and hours of work trying to get it down to the least amount of time, but yet making sure that you're enjoying the tutorial and that you're able to recreate it after I create it. So here we are. I'm going to have liquid glue. I make sure that I push it right into the corner, that liquid glue, when I'm pushing up the corner from the paper we mitered, just with my thumb to make sure it has a nice, lovely corner to it, you know, when you're looking at the album. And believe it or not, people see those kind of things, those little details that are a must. So I'm going to go all the way around here, and I'm going to put all the all of the paper on, and then we're going to move forward. You know, you wonder why I do this, why I don't just take a ruler and pound that down, or my bone folder. At first, I like to put heat to it from my hand. I go back and forth with my hand just to activate the glue and the ATG tape, or the roll of Suquang double-sided tape, whatever you're using, just to make it a little warm, and then it's a little more stickable, so to speak. Yeah, see that left corner? I think I have to really put some stickable warmth up there. It looks like it needs to get put down a little bit. But you know what? Check out this paper. I'm telling you, right here, I have to share this with you because you're my friends and you know me well. And if you subscribe to my channel, that you know I love vintage. And you wouldn't think that this paper is a vintage style paper, but it truly, truly is so vintage yet so clean. especially the front that I put down. You just have a few wildflowers, a few messy spots. You know, it looks like coffee was spilled on it, and dragonfly. Yet the color of the paper and the way it just, I don't know, you don't have to add much. I thought on the cover I would add homemade flowers and yada yada yada, but I didn't because I loved the clean, fresh look. I did add a few things that I really think you're going to enjoy and be putting on your projects, but it isn't overloaded. It isn't thick, and you know, it's just so that you can set it down on either side and enjoy it. And if you're giving it away as a gift, because there is a gift box going inside that is so connected to this album, it's crazy. That's all I have to say. It's a beautiful project. So I'm so happy I'm able to share it with you. Basically, you have the album. You're just going to make this album, and then you're going to make the box seated inside the album. And then I'm going to have a Tim Holtz zipper thingy and belt buckle. That's what it is, zipper thingy. It's a belt buckle, Carol. Get it right. I haven't been on YouTube for a few weeks. I'm telling you, it's crazy. So here we are. We're making the box. I do leave right here. You want to score it 3/4 of an inch all the way around, and I do leave you the size of the box coming up somewhere in the tutorial on the top. I don't know where it got to, but I will make sure I put it back there so you can see what the sizing is. We have 3/4 inches scored into it, and then we're going to miter. We're going to cut out the corners. Now you cut on the inside score mark, and then, well, I'll do that all the way. And then you're going to miter in just a bit to make it easy when you put the box together. And all you have to remember when you're cutting or mitering is that you miter all the corners there closest to the paper, not away to the edge. You're going to cut into where your paper is. I'll show you right here. So you're cutting it, and then you're making a little V. You cut it, make a little V, cut it, make a little V, as you can see. Yes, it's a easy project. And it'll all make sense to you once you start creating it. Now next, we need to have, I want to have a see-through vellum, or yes, not vellum, acetate. See-through acetate structure on the top box so that you can see down to the beautiful papers and what you're going to put in it. Now look at the paper underneath. This is what I chose, that beautiful wildflowers. Gorgeous. It has that splatter to it already. There's nothing you have to do to this paper to make it look any more wild and vintage. It has a wild feel to it, just an outdoor wild feel. And while you're outside sitting on a hill, you spilled a bunch of coffee on it. Hung it up to dry, and then you have a beautiful piece of paper. What can I tell you? So I cut into it with the smaller piece. Now I'm laying down my acetate, and I'm going to I'm going to cut into the acetate with the largest of the two dies that I chose to have. So the largest die obviously cuts the acetate because that has to go behind and cover the smaller piece. So you have a large acetate piece and a smaller piece cut into your paper. That matches, if that's what you wanted to do. And I want to mention something too. If you're like me and you have the Empress, don't forget, if you're cutting into the magnet, as you can see I do that, and it's getting kind of hairy and you're thinking, oh, I really should cut into another piece. Oh, yeah. I can't believe I left this in. I had some Chinese food I was having for lunch, and I like this honey garlic sauce, and I kept spilling it every time. Yeah. So you just clean that up, put your honey garlic sauce on your Chinese food, have your lunch, and then move forward. I don't know, what are you doing, Carol? Like reading the calories? When has that ever stopped you from eating anything? Let's move ahead. Yeah. Well, let's get back here. I'm talking about the magnet plate. Turn your magnet plate over. and cut from the other side of the magnet plate. Yes, I said it right. Turn it over and cut it on the clean side, and it will magnetize exactly the same, and it will give you double your pleasure, double your fun, double it up. Yes, with double mint gum. Remember that one? Whoa, that's an oldie. That'll give away how old you are, won't it? But anyway, just turn your magnet plate over and use the other side for another 6 to 8 months. You will get a ton of use out of your magnet plate if you do that. And I'm sure you will, because I'm going to turn mine over shortly, because it really is. Not yet. That's not really bad. But here I'm showing you the smaller die cut out my paper, the largest die cut around. So I have some room to glue it down. And you can use double-sided tape, liquid tape, whatever you have to hold this acetate piece onto your page. And it's going to be on the underneath part, because we are going to make the boxes. Now, we all know that the top of the box is one little tick measurement larger than the bottom, so that it can go over the box and not, you're not going to have trouble sealing it. In the sense that, you're going to be trying to get it on and it doesn't fit because it's the same size. Each one is the same size. You want to make the lid a tad bigger, which is just one tick mark on your ruler bigger, and you can just go for it. And isn't that paper gorgeous? Does that not scream vintage, wildflowers? Beautiful, beautiful gift box for somebody. It's not heavy. Unless you put a watermelon or something in there as your gift, but yeah. Oh, here we go. You know why I got out another Coca-Cola here? Well, it's probably on my 16th Coca-Cola, but we're changing days here. It's because I'm working in measurements. Measurements, oh my shattered nerves. It will make you want to have a Coca-Cola, trust me. But yeah, moving on to the next day, only because I see I have a ring wardrobe change. Yeah, what I'm telling you here is, sharing with you, I'm not telling you, I'm sharing it with you, that you want the box to seat so you have the same amount of, you can eyeball it. That's what I did, I think. Probably not, because I'm so detailed. I probably took a ruler. Yep, there's the ruler, close by, to make sure that I have the same amount of space on each side. It's crazy, isn't it? Because you really don't have to do that. It's just that if you're subject to doing detail stuff, your ruler is your best friend. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm picking out some double-sided tape, and I put my butterfly ring on so that I could get the feel of the, that, I was going to say firefly, but it's a dragonfly. I don't have my flies down. The only fly I do have down is those crazy black flies that you get in the summer. Just normal flies, not the black flies like you get up north. But or the no-see-em flies. If you live in the north, you know what I'm talking about with no-see-ems. You don't see them, and they bite 5,000 bites all over you, especially your legs. If you're hanging out laundry, you might as well forget it. You're bleeding to death by the time you make it to the house. That's all I can say. From a northerner, that's all I could say. I try to be serious when I'm doing my videos, especially design team projects, to be more instructional than more, I don't know, silly. I guess you could we don't use that word enough, but it's a beautiful word, the word silly. But that's what I do. That's my nature, and I want you to feel at home, just like you're around my craft table, my island here I'm creating on, and sharing my Coca-Cola with me, or whatever beverage you like to drink in the pop field. Yes. So here we go. I don't know what I'm doing there when I should just push that mouse thing away from me. I'm getting better at that. I put double-sided Suquang tape around it, and then of course I'm going to have to shift it a little bit to get it in the right spot, so the measurements are right on each side, and it's on the, tucked up to the fold, but not quite there. You don't want it right to the fold and make it impossible for you to shut the album. So that's why the liquid glue is coming on. But you do want to seat it right to the edge. And you want to keep in remembrance of what, yeah, I'm taking it off. It wasn't quite right. Yeah, that's why I'm starting to measure. But you want to remember the paper, that the side of the box that you put on there, because to place it where you can see the nice pattern. I wanted a plain pattern when I closed the album, so I made sure the lid of the box, see that? Doesn't matter about the bottom because the lid goes over it, right? But I wanted to make sure that both sides measured out nice, and I did pick one side that was plain to match the outside. So the box that you're going to see, the fold over side of the top lid, should match close to when you close it to the papers you chose for the top. I don't know if that made any sense to you. I'm totally confused myself. But yes, let's move on. Now, you can get all of these metals and all of these beautiful pieces at Claire's shop. So I will leave all the links. I'm putting metal corners down just to give it a more aged style. And this is going to be a sewing box. I'm going to put some sewing supplies or craft supplies, whatever you want to use the sewing products on the inside. I'm going to share a couple of things I like to do when I make tags. So let's move along. I used some E6000. There I did. I just threw it on the table like I always do. E6000. And I'm telling you, this was, I don't know, the air hit it and it was pretty, it wasn't oozing out properly. It was really gunked up, but I managed to get some out with my pokey tool there. You can see it. And then I'm going to put on the other pieces of metal, the white glue works well also, so you don't have to worry that you have to have E6000. The white glue works perfect. Just add a few clips. These clips are from the dollar store where nothing's a dollar. And then I'm going to cut out this larger, now I'm thinking firefly. What is with this? It is a, it's a fly. My dragonfly. There you go. Okay, we're going to cut this thing out. I am going to use my extra thick embossing powder, and it's called, I call it UD, but I don't know. Let me just see. Have I got it here? What it stands for. I just put extra thick embossing powder. So there you go. I fussy cut it. I'm going to put it over top to have that three-dimensional look. And then when you add this thick UD embossing powder, which is super thick granules, that's why it just makes this dragonfly. Oh, look at that. I remembered. It's because I said it earlier enough that it's still stored in my brain box here. So here we are. We are going to fussy cut the large one, use these beautiful extra crunchy embossing granules. And, sometimes it's on, we have this level thing. You want super detailed embossing powder, clear, if you're doing sentiments and things. But this super thick granule embossing powders work amazing if you want something to jump off the page and be totally three-dimensional. So I love the fact I got it out with my measuring spoon, my 1 tablespoon measuring spoon, and we are going to put this dragonfly over top. And these little elements, even though we're not covering up a lot of the paper, are going to make a difference. Now, I used my liquid 3D gel, It's like the embossing paste, or it's the 3D crystal lacquer actually, and it's just to hold my embossing powder on because it is super chunky and you want it to stay on there. So there you go. Put it down inside if you're using the coffee paper, but I want to tell you, I could have done this over top of the bowl that had the actual powder in, but I didn't want any of the heated powder to melt and fall into the mix of the extra thick embossing powder right there. Generally with clear embossing powder, the detailed embossing powder, it doesn't matter to me because it so quickly dries in a snap. Just like that, it dries. So you don't have to worry about it dripping off. But with the UD here, it could possibly, and then I'm dipping it in. See, I say that. Dipping it into the, I'm not heat setting it. That's why I can dip it back into the bowl. How's that? We all know that. I don't know why I'm explaining to, if you're watching my tutorial, you're probably a seasoned crafter or a beginner that doesn't mind all my explanations for things that I have learned over the last 6 years of crafting. So here we are. Let's put the lid on it. I sure missed everybody, and I am super honored to be creating for my creative spirit, and I look forward to doing many more tutorials for you, to challenge you to go over and purchase some of Claire's workshops. You won't be disappointed, my friends. And if you love making albums and you want to get a workshop, you get all the supplies, you get the personal touch of Claire explaining everything wonderfully. She's a beautiful teacher, and it's worth the money. It's worth checking out, and it is financially easy on the pocketbook. So I'll leave all the links. I'll leave a link for if I can find something close to this as well. I haven't seen this one done on YouTube, so but I'm sure I can find something. I'm using my is that what it's called? That thing I bought to put pages when I make a book. My signature pages to make holes in it. I just bought 2 of these. And I'm putting a white brad into my belt buckle. I think it looks really pretty. It is an easy way. Just put some white glue, a little touch of white glue underneath your brad. Put the brad through and then take the prongs and press it down with either a hammer, a knife, an awl, whatever you have handy. You don't want to do it to the ruler though, because you could make marks in it, and that's not nice. Could scratch, even though you use the back side of it, it could scratch when you're sliding it onto a project. So look at that. We are on our way to a beautiful gift box and album. Yes. So let's move along, Carol. Don't just sit there and stare at it, although it's very pretty. Now, I put these 2 beautiful metal pieces on the corners. Here I'm using my liquid glue, my glue gun, and I'm just putting it on the body of this dragonfly. I'm going to take my dental tool, my ortho dental tool, and I'm going to, I bought these tools, and they're identical to, if you're a dental assistant or an orthodontic assistant, you'll certainly recognize these. I bought them online a long time ago, the set of them, and so I thought it was pretty funny. Oh, see that crack in the page? That was made by the paper before I put on the black tape, just so you know. And I love that crack because I love vintage. That doesn't do. I'm going to cover it, but you could let it go, and it just gives to the wonderfulness of doing vintage projects, doesn't it? And I do want your input, and I love when you get back to me and say, oh, this is nice, or this would have worked well, or whatever. And both dragonflies are different, and that dragonfly was on a piece of the same paper line, which makes it nice also. See how you can see it looks like it has 8 wings? I don't even know how much, but oh, here we go. I don't know how many wings dragonflies have. 4 probably. And here we go. So I'm using my ATG and some liquid glue, and I'm just going to take all the papers that look like they would be good for a bookmark or some other goodies you're going to make. I'm putting it on the leftover pieces of cardboard, whatever you want to call it. You can use your cereal boxes, whatever. This really is a nice project to set things aside for other projects, while you're creating and doing other things, just keep doing this and put it in your stash. Get a zipped up bag like I have and use them on another project. They don't have to all be used the same day. So I'm taking some tape runner. I'm trying to use up things that are in my stash, as you can see. These are gorgeous little tags, self-made tags that you get in the paper line. So that's what's wonderful. So I put the tape runner and then the liquid glue, put it to the chipboard. If I can remember to, oh, there we go. Put the liquid on there and then just cut it out with your longer scissors. So one run, when you snip it, will cut it nicely. Here we go. Supplies. No, I mean supplies. These are supplies. It's probably a supplies because I don't go into these dollar store cases that I have. I love these. When you go to the dollar store, check for these in your lunch box section. You get 2 for $1.50 and they clip up and you get all different sizes, and then you can, they're color coordinated, so you can get all different colors. If you are, you know, you like to keep things really organized and you want to color code things, this is for you. It doesn't matter to me anymore. It used to. I used to be OCD, is that what they call it, on all my things, but now I've really loosened up. It's like if I can find it, that's a good day. So that little sewing case you see, the purple one, I got that at the dollar store where nothing's a dollar, and I put a bunch of them away. And now, oh, something just must have fallen down. I'm getting it out of the way. So my wonderful, I mean, if you're going to put the buckle on there, you're going to need to have what's going to go, the strap, you know. So I wanted the strap. It is an inch, I think. I have it right in front of me. I think I put the sizes up there. It's giving me a little bit of time so I can show you. Yes, it's a 1/2 inch. And then you want to score on the each side because you want to fold it into one another and meet in the middle. So it would be a 1/4 inch score mark on either side of your 1/2 inch piece of paper. Make sure it's longer than what you want the strap to be going through the buckle. We are going to use some, we're going to have to make the holes, which means we're going to use eyelets, the dreaded eyelets. I don't dread the eyelets. I dread the eyelet maker thingy, that I get it right the first time, you know. And if you don't, it's a terrible thing. So I kind of got where it should be. I found the right number coordination on that We Are Memory Keepers eyelet thing. And yeah, so I'm going to pick me out some copper, just something that looks metal. Let's just say that. I think it is copper. But what happened is, if you don't, you should do a couple of practice ones. I don't do it, but I should. I should put, just to get the feel of that chomper and get the feel of the actual eyelet. You really should do that. It doesn't, you know, I've got 1,000 of them in there. But, you know, I'm just wild and free here. I'm just going at it and see how it turns out. So let's do it. I'm going to want to have, let's see, 1, 2, 4. I put 4 on. Now the first one worked out perfect. I'm not kidding. It didn't flatten. It didn't make all of the coloring, the metal flicking things on there. It didn't come off. It was super duper. But the next time, remember, you're going to go through the middle of the tucked in spots of your strap, you know, your folds, and glue. It's going to have a bit of glue on it, but I want to share, make sure you have the paper in the right direction. So when you flatten it, the nice part of your eyelet is facing up, okay? Now, I tried to measure it, like I put it up to the lines there, the grid lines, and I'm just taking them over here, and then I'm making a little pencil mark in the middle. I did come up with a plan. I did like the idea of placing them there and then with the pencil and putting a dot on it. So that's a nice way. You don't have to measure it with a ruler, but you want it, you want it to be somewhat symmetrical. You want it to look good. Oh, there comes the ruler. See, I can't even do that. I'm always checking to see whether it is close enough or right in the middle, like the the eyelet is in the proper place. But this is what I did wrong. On the next eyelet, I had the paper, my strap, upside down, so that when I clipped it, even though it worked beautiful, I had the jiggity ends on the top, on the clean paper side, and I had the nice part underneath where you're not going to see it. And I thought, oh, I am not taking out, I'm not starting over. I'm not starting a new strap. You know how frustrating that is for us when we're creating. So I had to come up with plan B. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm coming up with plan B. And that is to have one eyelet up and one eyelet down. Yeah, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, really, Carol, really? You're going to let that be one up, one down? Yeah, I am, because I did not want to start over. It was that kind of a day. So I set it inside here just to see, okay, now what do I have to do? I have one light eyelet facing up nice, one turned down. It doesn't look bad because I did keep it. I did not do another one. There was no way, no way. Yes, I'm trying to explain it to you. It just was not going to work. So here's the decision making when you're doing a strap. You want to remember the length you want in the front. How much do you want sticking it out as far as the strap is concerned when you put it through one of your eyelets? For me, I wanted it to be a third. I was kind of working in the rule of thirds here on the top because you are going to see it. I had, like I said, 4 eyelets on here. I didn't do it in an odd, I wasn't thinking odds and evens, just 4 look good to me. I'm holding it up so you can see. There's the nice one, and then when I start creating, I did 1 upside down and 1 nice. 1 upside down, 1 nice. It didn't look bad at all. Then I'm going to snip the top into an arrow shape, snip the 2 sides so it comes to a peak, point, whatever. And then, yeah, I'm looking, when you do a voiceover like this, you're looking at your own edit. You're taking things out, putting things in, mostly taking it out of the original edit. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I do now? I need to put some more eyelets. So, and here's another thing that We Are Memory Keepers, if anybody that's associated with We Are Memory Keepers, could there be some kind of a boing boing thing that works so that when you use this machine and you're cutting holes, that piece of paper pops out, in that round hole, the small and the large hole that you're punching, because you have to stop your project and then you have to get a tool, your pokey tool, get that piece of paper that's left in there from making the hole with the machine, and you have to keep doing that. So if there was a little spring in there, it would, and it just popped out. When you pressed it, boink, out comes that piece of paper, slides out. I don't know how you'd ever do it, but anyway, that's the only thing that, kind of is a little frustrating for me when I have to stop and then take that little piece of paper out of the hole so I can move on, because you could make 3 holes in a row, but you can't see down in the hole where your placement is. So obviously we have to stop. We all know it. But boy, if there was some kind of thing that made it fall out, that would be great. Or store it. Now, as I was going, I'm just in creative mode and I'm thinking, okay, I will close it up with double-sided tape or glue, whatever. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to round it onto the back side and I'm going to glue it down the spine. Now that's all well and good, but then I started thinking to myself, if it's a gift and people want to see, well, what's inside that little album? They're going to be taking that strap off and on, off and on, off and on. And that was going through my mind the whole time I was doing this here. I'm thinking, I have to secure that strap. Isn't that gorgeous? I just think it is so sweet to you know, there's not a lot added to it, and yet it is, to me, a beautiful vintage style project. So I'm thinking to myself, you're going to have to secure the back of the strap. And I thought to myself, you know what? There is a better way than having to undo that strap all the time. I'm sure there is. So I kept thinking about it, and then I thought, yes, this is the key. Whoa, it was just like a light bulb went off in the old brain cells there. And I thought, I'm going to keep it at the exact hole I wanted at, so that when you look at the project on the front side, it's going to be the right size for me when you do it up. And I was working with the rule of thirds, so I wanted to do 1/3 of it having the strap on the front. So I thought, okay, you have to take it off. You have to take, if you have some, undo it. You can slide under there. It'll come off like nobody's business. But if you don't have, you know, undo it and just do it yourself. Yeah, just get some little tool, and like I did, I cut it, and then I worked at getting it off the back. And I'll show you what I ended up doing too, so you don't see that on the spine. That's another cover-up. I love my projects for this sense. Everything's covered up. And the person that's, well, not everything, but most of it, I'm correcting some. Oh, it must have been, look at that. My brain had to really function. So it's like, wow, I'm having a double whammy. Put one there, Coca-Cola. And not really, the other one was empty. So I just got a nice cold one to finish up the project here. So I got out my laces. I chose a lace, set it aside, then went into my sewing little bin. And now I'm going to get out one of my tags, and I'm going to add some little pieces of twine. Nice vintage colors, you know, the cream, the black, the bronze, the whatever, you know, the black and white twine, all kinds of different fabrics of twine. Isn't that pretty? And then I'll show you how you get those little divots. You want to make a little divot on each side so that you can put the twine around it and it's not going to fall off. So I have a little tool from Fiskars that is, it's a little, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch long, and it makes the perfect holes to add twine to the sides of your tags so they don't fall down. And I'll show you that in a minute. And then I'm going to set these little sewing elements in there. I have a paper measuring tape. I have the needle thingy that helps you guide your thread. And yeah, so let's move forward. Put my stuff back and get out a few things I need. And I'll show you the Fiskars cutting tool that cuts out that little piece on each side. Gives me 4 little notches cut out so I can put any kind of twine on there. So let's go. You don't want it to be really thick either. You want to just let it be just right. We all know what's just right and what's too thick. Like those boing boing ball things, that would be too much. It would take away from everything that we're doing, because we're keeping it pretty simplistic here. So I'm going to make another bookmark on this page, and I did that like throughout the day. I was just making supplies to put away. I wanted to cover the front and the back of there. And remember, when you're putting this down also, which side you want to be showing, right? That's always a bonus. As I was doing this, you know, I like to make 2 projects at one time. I have another project going as I'm doing this project, and I thought I'm going to do 2 of these boxes, gift box albums. So I thought, what are you going to use? Well, I had this Graphic 45 Raining Cats and Dogs collection that I have not used yet. And I got this when it first came out and had it put away. And, you know, I did make this little album you see there. This is what I'm going to adjust. That was already made. It had the little, you know, raining pages on there. And I thought, yes, I'm going to use that. So I was just getting that out. I thought I'd show you that you can. It's that nice of a project that you can be doing two at the same time. Just go right into another paper pack and start it. So here's what came to my head as I was doing this. That beautiful tape. Remember, it's like the Tyvek, Claire's wonderful construction tape. That's what I put on the back because it's going to be opened and opened and opened, even though I'm going to use magnets. I decided to magnet so you never had to unclip it from the actual book. It's going to always stay on the same eyelet on the buckle. And here I'm just taking some of the goop out with my cutting knife, but I didn't need to, just on the outsides because I'm going to put some gorgeous lace on there. That's the only thing where I frilled it up a little bit, was on the dark lace that matched the corner pieces, the metal corner pieces, to soften it up and cover that mark. I love covering things, don't you? I thought the magnet idea with the strap was nice, so I'm just going to make sure that I cover this up with the beautiful rosette trim, the lace trim. It's so pretty. It's in that chocolate brown that really accentuates the corner pieces, the metal corner pieces. You have two different textures, which is lovely when you're doing something vintage. And I also thought of putting some nice pattern paper. If it was see-through enough that I could see the image, just to add something to it, you can use your patterns. But mine was too thick and it didn't work out for me. So I thought, no, I'm just going to focus on putting this beautiful magnet piece on the strap. So what I do is I take the magnet and I put it on with a glue dot on the other side of the strap, on the side you're not going to see. And then when I lift it up, you're going to see. And then I take the one magnet that I want to seat, you know, its partner over there, that they're going to connect together. I put it on top. Then I put another glue dot on the other side so that when I place it over, it grabs the glue dot, and then I have both magnets in order. That's the way I do it. It's so easy with glue dots. Then you just have to cover the magnet. So I'm getting some double-sided tape to put on here so it secures it better. You know, it has some better sticky than just having a glue dot. That's what I think, and you are going to cover it. So I'll do that. I'll take off the top of it, and we're going to add some nice birds on there. We're going to take some Mod Podge, and we're going to add it with the glue. I chose to use matte so that it dried and you couldn't see the glue. And it's just a lovely project. And see how the coffee stains in the corner there? Isn't this a pretty, pretty paper? It turned out to be quite nice for this project. It really did. So I'm thinking, okay, it does look like it's down a little ways, but it's not. No, it's not. It does grab and release. And doesn't Claire's construction tape look beautiful on the opposite side of the strap? If I had have thought, let me jump in here, of putting magnets on it, I certainly would have done it before I put the construction tape on. But this is the beauty of Claire's construction tape, my friends. You can put it over top and it will stick. So to cover up the construction on the strap, I just put more construction tape. And that was wonderful. So now I have the other side that I need to cover. And I went to my papers and I found a beautiful set. Oop, boink, it's gonna, yeah, it's boinking all, it's just magnetized well. I really loved it. And I'm getting excited now on this project to get going. And here is this gorgeous lace. I'm going to use liquid glue and making sure that the little edges are sticking out. Sometimes they get folded on the inside and you don't realize it, but either or, whether you notice it, whether you don't, it still looks beauteous. So let's get that on the back. I tried to concentrate on getting all that fixed. Oh, here's what I was talking about. Not using the pattern paper, actually, although this would be a nice paper if you want, you know, if you didn't have a paper line, you could always get out some patterns. But see how the actual pattern paper, it just wasn't clear enough for me because the paper I'm using is too light. Wow, that was a mouthful, wasn't it? So here we go. I'm watching the beautiful snow, huge snowflakes coming down out of my craft room window. It's just lovely. So here we are, a set of birds. And look at that paper. It really is a lovely vintage paper. So when I first saw it, I was wondering, boy, these are different colors and different everything. I got a little paintbrush here, and we're going to be, this is Mod Podge in the mat, and we're going to be placing that down, and I'm making it nice and oozy-goozy. I really like working with Mod Podge. It is a product of glue that it makes everything stick so well. You can't tell that I have that magnet underneath. Because it's matte, I'm going to go over the bird, really push it into the crevices there so it dries flat. Get that bird's head just tucked around nicely around that magnet, and then we're going to move forward. This is really, excuse me, a painter's delight when you can get all messy, when you're creating. And a little messy, not much. So I'm going to put the paintbrush into the water so that I can clean it. Then we're going to take some of that. Yeah, this is where I like just getting my fingers right in there. Isn't that wonderful? Yes. And that's what Mod Podge does. And it also dries matte, so you don't have to worry. There we go. Just press it in there. And we have a couple of birds right there floating in the air. I'm pretty sure when I was finished, I'm going to look at here. Yes, I did put a little limb on there so that they weren't just floating in the air. I extended the limb that was underneath the one bird a little bit. Yeah, that's all you have to do. Now I'm wiping it up with a baby wipe just so it doesn't dry clumpy. And now I'm going to be able to take my strap, and it is going to right onto that magnet. And it's going to be almost a finished project for you, my friends. I hope you like it so far. I hope you like it as much as I like creating it for my creative spirit, for Claire in her style. As far as albums, she's the album maker galore, and her projects are known throughout the world. She is a first-class album maker. I really respect her work, and Claire. So let's move along. I'm taking one of the flowers off of that strip there of lace so that it can be added. It's just not out there, the paper. I didn't want to cut any more of the paper off, and I didn't like the way it was, just cut straight across, and I didn't want it to be pointy either. So I thought, well, this is perfect. And I had this little strip left over right here, but of course I can't put that there. The magnet won't clip it as well. It clipped it, but not as well. It's too much. So I grabbed the black construction tape, and I put a little piece over top. You can't even tell where the seams meet. I will have the direct link for Claire's construction tape for you, so you can just press it and go right over there at her store and check it out. So let's move along, put the black tape down, and these magnets were strong enough that I could put a couple of those bookmarks behind it if I was giving it away as a gift, and it still grabbed hold of the other magnet, which is great. Look at that. It just covered it up with the seams. You couldn't even tell. It looked like that strap was just consistent, going all the way across. Beauteous. There we go. Snap. Don't you love that sound? When two magnets meet and you didn't put too much stuff down where you had to reconstruct it. You just hear that thing going on, that, I don't know what it is. And then I'm thinking, okay, that bottom one piece of metal that's rounded looks to me like a bird's nest. And I thought, oh, I have to put a couple of birds in there, of course. It just looks like you snuggle a few birds in there. So I fussy cut one, and I placed it down inside. Oh, I'm telling you, I was having so much fun collaging. You get a little bit of collage in there. You get a little bit of everything. You're creating and using your imagination and your creative abilities to make this small but yet unique project. And isn't it cute? I love everything about it. I really do. Now, another thing you could think about is, the front and the back. Where is it lining up as far as when you're looking at it? And I'll tell you what I mean in a second. It opens for me, like it flips. So when I'm flipping the box there, it's not made to turn sideways. It's made to flip. And that way the birds or the imagery is all in sync if you flip the album up and down. It does not flip sideways. Otherwise, it doesn't look right. But you'll see that when I finish. You'll see it in the pictures that I leave, what I mean there. Now we have the gorgeous box. We're going to put our little tags with our, there. I'm trying to find another one to make those little notches, and with my Fiskars notch maker. That's what I'm calling it. And I think it is a notch maker, actually. That's why it probably makes notches, right? It's a notch maker. So the one on the left is complete. It has the threads. It has all the little pieces, parts. There it is, my little notch maker. And you just boink. There you have one notch. And look at, I'm not measuring. I'm eyeballing it. Oh yeah. This is amazing. This is a first, my friends. Let's enjoy it while it's happening. There. And then you're going to make 2 more on the bottom. And this way, your string, whatever you're putting in there, your threads, they're going to stay right inside the notches, and it's going to be wonderful. Beauteous, darling. I even enjoy looking at it. I love it, the papers, because those reds, those scarlet reds are gorgeous in the, I don't know, are they poppies? I have no idea over there, but I do love the color. Now here, I gave away, I mailed out 200 packages of supplies about 5 years ago, and I put them in Tyvek packaging, in the Tyvek big envelopes, so people could have the nice, great big Tyvek piece, and I filled them with all kinds of supplies, and these were left over. So I did 200. I think I mailed out 125 of them just as a random act of kindness, and I kept this many back. I made extras so that I had packaging to give away. But the funny thing is, I'm going to put this whole one package inside the gift box when I do give it away. And so it's nice. That's, once again, it's doing extra things when you're already crafting to set aside, and it's a bonus to have it already ready and move forward. This was a little thing of thread I found in my stash to put in there. So I'm going to do some wrapping around, and then we are going to move on to finishing this up. Once we have our goodies in there, we're pretty well set. I am just going to show you the way I wrap these in little lunch bags. I put a couple of die cuts, a ribbon, some sentiments, and it is a little project, a card project, all wrapped in one little lunch bag. So it's an idea. I'm just slipping this in to give you some ideas, and there you have it. I covered up that split we had in the back of the project there on the, what do you call it there, on my spine. And now we're going to close it up, my friends. I'm just showing you the little things that I put inside the lid. Remember always when you make the box, when you're going to add acetate, what you see through the acetate, what papers you pick and choose to do that. And I find it very pretty, very easy to create. And I thank Claire for the supplies that were sent to me as a team member to make this project for you to view and to be inspired also. Now, the one thing I did get out of my stash were some sewing metal pieces that I added also. A pair of scissors, the dress stand, and There was something else there. Oh, I made about 15 bookmarks, so I wanted to add the holes in them. So I just sat there before I was finished and checking out all the hole sizes, because some of them I made small and I wanted to make them bigger. And like I said, once you use this punch, you have to stop and take out. Don't forget to take out that little piece of, yep, there we go. Just what I was talking about. You have to take out the round, there it is. I'm collecting a whole bunch of those on the side. Then you're going to have instant bookmarks or whatever. If you want to make notches all the way down and add it to your gift box, that is lovely also. I think you'll enjoy that. I'm just going to take some pictures of this so you can enjoy it at the end of the tutorial. If you want to subscribe, you just press my head at the end. You'll see my head up in the left-hand corner. If you press that, I'm pretty sure it takes you so you can subscribe to my channel, and you know all the things you need to do, pressing the bell. That way you're notified when I put tutorials up, and when my creative spirit, when the design team projects go up, you'll be notified for that. So we are finishing up, my friends. I am gluing these pieces down because I didn't have any E6000 that wasn't, soft enough to add to it. So I used the white glue that Claire had sent me, and it held all those metal pieces on there, and that is the tacky PVA glue. Anita's tacky PVA glue. I'll put a link for that as well, and it kept these metal pieces secure. So I hope you like it. I'm just adding some pieces right there. There's the scissors, the sewing machine, and the metal dress form on the other side. And I was super duper happy. I was able to keep the integrity. I added that little strap piece. Remember I had that leftover strap piece? I added that to the left corner with the corrugated piece. I just ripped off a piece of corrugated paper, and I covered up that little tear, which I really didn't want to because I love that look of tears and rips and all kinds of goodness. But there you have it, my friends. Your album gift box all in one for the project today. I do hope you will give it a try and that you will check out the store. Check out the projects. There's a lot of YouTube videos that Claire puts out for free that you can watch. There's the buckle. There's the pattern I chose. And if you want to change up, turn the box around and you have a different pattern on the other side. Very versatile, isn't it? You've got lace, you have magnets, you have birds, you have dragonflies. You've got it all, my friends. And then when you open it up, oh yes, add a bunch of goodness underneath there if you like when you're mailing it out. And I hope you did have a good time spent with me today. I'm always encouraged to spend time with you. So we will see you. This is, like I said, for my Creative Spirit Design Team project. Thank you so much. Your time is valuable. I know that. And you spent it with me today, so I appreciate it. Enjoy the pictures. Have a blessed week. And I will talk to you on the next project. Take care, my friends.